How's it going, everyone? This is Paul Garcia of ProjectSpurs.com bringing you a training camp update. So after the San Antonio Spurs lost on Sunday in their first preseason game at Houston by 38 points, they had practice on Tuesday. And so Tre Jones and Jeremy Sochan spoke with the media. And so what I've done is I pulled a few quotes that I found interesting from Tre Jones, and I'll mention a few of the quotes from Jeremy Sochan. So let's first begin with Tre Jones on Jeremy Sochan. So as we saw in that game, Jeremy Sochan is a very versatile defender. He ended up getting 3 blocks in just 17 minutes of play with the steal. And he's very good about being multi-positional where he can move around different spots, and he's good at help defense. So let's hear what Tre Jones had to say about Jeremy Sochan so far on defense. Here's Tre Jones. He says, he's a freak athlete for sure. He has a really good feel for the game, a really good feel. A lot of the times he's in the right spot. He can kind of do a little bit of everything, can guard 1 through 5. I think once he adjusts to the NBA game and everything, he'll be really good. So that was Tre Jones again on Jeremy Sochan's defense. Sochan says that defense is an area of the floor that he definitely prides himself on a lot. And then let's talk about what Jones mentioned about Sochan on offense, and specifically how Sochan's already some 3-pointers already in this first preseason game. Here's what he said. On offense, he can bring the ball up. He might be the one setting the screen. He might be off-ball spacing. Obviously, his shot is coming along, but he has the confidence in himself shooting. So like you said, his versatility just on both sides of the floor is definitely the biggest thing for him. Now, as we note here, he took 4 shots in this first preseason game. 3 of those were 3-point attempts, and he actually made a 3-point shot. And so when Jones was asked, are you surprised that Sochan's already taking threes? He says no, that he saw him work on this in the offseason. I don't think that's a surprise. Since the first day, he's been real confident in his shot. He's had days where he's hit a lot, so we believe in his shot. He believes in it. It's only a matter of time before he's a knockdown shooter. So that was, again, Tre Jones on Jeremy Sochan. Now, when Sochan was asked about, what did you work on once you got drafted in the offseason, he says that he definitely worked on his 3-point shot. He says that he worked on his release point, on his form, and that just being in training camp and also in the practices before, those little mini games that the players are participating in, it really helped him to just kind of get those repetitions. And so he says that, he right now, as we saw already in his first game, he's going to, if it's there, he's going to take that spot up kind of 3-point attempt. So again, that was Tre Jones there on Jeremy Sochan. The next player Tre Jones spoke about was Devin Vassell. Vassell finished in his first preseason game with 13 points on 13 shots in the first half. And so he talked about how Devin's going to be one of those players on the team that they're going to rely on to have to create a lot of offense on his own, and so for himself or others. And so we saw a little bit of that in that game against Houston. So here's what Tre Jones said about Devin being able to create. He says, I think his ability to create his own shot right now. I think off the dribble, he's getting separation. He's able to get to his spots and rise up, and it's tough to stop, especially with his length and everything. And so it's something he was working on a lot in this offseason. I saw him put in all the work, and so I definitely think that'll be something he'll do a lot of this year. This echoes what Josh Richardson said last week about Devin Vassell, that he's definitely been a player who's shown that he can start to create for himself and get separation from the defense. And that's going to be something that the Spurs need, because as we saw in this game against Houston, when they get into that half-court offense and they can't run, get up and down the floor, it's going to be very tough for them to create shots. And so Devin's going to be one of those players that they're going to rely on to try to create for himself or others. And so we'll see again how much Devin continues to grow in that role of shot creation for the Spurs team. And then the last quote I found interesting from Tre Jones was he was kind of asked, are you all is the coaching staff giving you all less plays early on because it's such a young group with different new players? And he says, yeah, like it's not like normal training camps, so they put a lot of different plays in on day one. They're definitely taking a lot slower. But he also says that overall in the NBA though, things are just changing where coaches aren't calling as many set plays these days because a lot of the offense is read and react. So here's what he said. I don't want to make sure I quote him correctly. He said, that's just kind of how the game is now. You don't see a lot of plays anymore. It's a lot of just reads, actions, and trying to attack mismatches. So again, as someone who likes to hear, what the players are seeing out on the floor, that's very interesting to hear that perspective from Tre Jones of how NBA teams are starting to use the offense these days compared to maybe in the past when a lot of coaches had more control in terms of calling set plays and the pace was a lot slower. So now that this faster, quicker pace, we see here that the players are having to make those read and reactions and have very quick instincts in what they're going to do with the ball in their hands or out on the floor. So again, those were some interesting quotes I found there from Tre Jones on Tuesday. All right, for Project Spurs, I am Paul Garcia.